Well, hello all history hunters. In that video that I did on the little Roman find, I think people were just as much interested in the well that discovered. It looks an old medieval well. I don't know if it goes back that far, but let's have a look at what we've got today. So I won't put the camera too close to it, but my very kindly neighbour has gone and got me a giant magnet. So we're gonna give it a go and see if there's anything in this well. What a shame silver and gold doesn't get pulled up by it. But this thing's strong. So yeah, first time using it, first time magnet fishing. Let's see what comes up. So here's where we are. There's our well. Look at that thing. Yeah. Oh, don't drop it, you won't be getting it back. I could fit through there, but whether you're getting out or not, who knows? Right. Well, shall we see if anything comes up? Now that took some finding. I think that's bean fired, but I may be wrong. Look how tiny that is. Well, Equinox 800 with the 15-inch Coiltech coil. Just the faintest little peep saying there's something there, and it's an old button. So quite an ornate copper part spoon thereof. I think that says W.G. Graves, and then there's something underneath that I can't read. Quite ornate. Strikes me as a little bit old, but yeah, it would have been nice in its day, wouldn't it? Quite nice, but not silver or gold and not complete. Still, mustn't grumble. I think that's a railway button that's been squished. This piece of copper was very loud, like a 36. Must have been flat. I mean, those lines, yeah, I don't think it's ancient. A small livery button. Don't know what the design is on that. I've just found, see this gate post? I think there's another gate post there. So I think this has been filled in. It used to be a gateway onto this field. And just here, I just found this little disc brooch. I don't think it's going to be that old. But you can see little, you know, diamond looking thing there. I don't think it will be diamonds. But yeah, that's nice. After a very gentle brush. There we go. Nice. It looks like a halfpence. Quite corroded. This is a strange little thing. It's got a couple of clips on the back, yet nothing really on the front. So yeah, perhaps it's just something off farm machinery rather than like a brooch type thing. But very strange. So one of the negatives of the Equinox, it was in the same hole as those last two items. Whoops. The halfpence and then that funny clasp thing, and it was in the edge, so you know what it's like. Big piece of iron, you're digging down thinking there's a 20 somewhere, and it's just on the edge of iron, and take a while to find because they're hidden in the edge. Oh well, all part of the game. Little copper button. And that's what's making all the noise. This big old lock. Look at that. Oh, that would have been nice, wouldn't it? It's not working anymore. Just had this out. Can't really see what's on it. You know, your mind starts to fill in gaps. What's that, 1700s, 1800s maybe? A little, probably, religious thing. Is that Mary on the left and baby Jesus on the right, or am I imagining things? Yeah. So, they were either working or travelling in the dark. Ah. Look at that thing. Is that a blank? Don't know. Big enough, isn't it? If it's not a blank, that'd do some damage. Little copper thing. I think that's charcoal in there, is it? So I don't know what this is. Some kind of burner or something. Now that was very deep, and I don't know if it's just been battered. I mean, I assume that's going to be a coin, but I could be wrong. It's quite light. Are we going to clean it and see? Yeah, let's clean it and see. I mean, here we are. It looks like a very old coin. Might just be a token of some sort. It possibly Roman, but then there's not a lot on it either way, is there? Nope, not a lot on it. Just checking the same hole, and this has come out. That's old iron, that, isn't it? That's making me think that that coin might be a Roman coin. That was pretty much in there next to it. Yeah. Always check your hole, eh? A Georgia happens. A funny little bit of something. It snapped there and there. Loud signal. Just had those two things in the hole. That's a button. That, what's that? Was it? I saw the shape of this and thought that this was the metal, but no. So is that a piece of charcoal for drawing, writing? I'll have to check that out on a piece of paper. Oh, couple of, oh, yeah, I think that's oh, that's for a sink, that is it? Oh, I know what that is. I think that is the wheel off a train. A couple of moo tubes. Thanks to one of the moo tubes, got that. I thought it was metal. That is very heavy. I don't know what that is. That bit kind of reminds me of those things you used to have in the garden for the edges, but it if you just look like that, it could be a statue's bum, couldn't it? But no. But it's cracked up and whatever it is, and it's very heavy. That's interesting, get that checked out. But just had this bit of silver. I think I know what it is. I think that's French. I won't rub it. I think this is French. I've had a bigger one than this found at the beach. So that's 50 centimes. I think that's 19. Is it 18? So perhaps come back after the First World War. That's a Republique Francaises. It's a beautiful little silver coin, that, isn't it? 50 centimes, 1918. Fraternity, Égalité Fraternité Liberty, all that malarkey. After, of course, we've chopped a lot of people's heads off and all that. So yeah, there it is after a little clean. 1918. There she is. Republique Francaises. Liberty, Égalité, Fraternity. 50 centimes, 1918. Beautiful little coin, well made. Couple of finds, a big penny, and a spoon or fork end, probably spoon. Well, I'd better be off home. I mean, look at these blue skies. Jackets had to come off. Definitely the woolly hat's come off. I think I'm going to have to be bringing the cap along so I don't get sunburned. Right, let's have a look at the last finds before we go. So these are the last ones. A bit of a, I had a couple of those copper nuts. Was it copper brass, whatever. So they'll weigh in. A spindle wall that's had a bit of damage, I think. That's a nice button. Oops, the 5p rolling away. What's that say? Oops. It's got a ship's anchor on it. I'll see if I can't find out what that says. But that's quite nice, very prominent, a little bit of gold on it. A buckle, another squished button or two, and yeah, some bits and pieces. So yeah, quite a nice trip out. That nice little French silverer and that possible Roman. Happy hunting, everybody. Back out on a fairly productive field. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful where I am, which is it's a real shame I can't show you where it is, because not really fair on the farmer. Just got onto the field and a loud 18 signal. Thought it was going to be a bit of scrap. I looked at it. I thought it was going to be a bit of a scrap, but let's have a little look. It's a bit of silver. Fold it over. I don't know what that's going to be. There's a design there. So yeah, don't know what it's off, whether it's off like a cane or something, or what. That's an interesting bit of silver, that. Silver's always nice, and something a bit different, even better. This looks like, with that hole there, looks like a bullet that has hit something hard and flattened. Yeah. Although those lines, does that mean a glancing blow? 10 or 11 signal. I think the Americans call them a beaver tail. The end of a ring pull and a bit of glassware in the hole. So 13 signal. Can you hear that? But it seems wider of an area than a hammered coin. So I'm guessing something like a button or a bit of trash. We'll see. So it is thin copper, so that's why it's down at a 13 signal, and why it was over a wider area, because it was a bigger target. Yep. So this one, bit of a jumpy signal up into the 20s. So jumpy signal up into the 20s, probably most likely copper. Seems to be a bit bigger and wider, so might not be a coin. Could be a bit of a trash. 20s could be a big chunk of lead, but probably would be deeper than that. Anyway, let's have a look. So there's a lot more digging out than I thought there would be. $27, $26. So there's a chance that it's, well, either a biggish copper or maybe even a silver. Let's see what there is. This pinpointer's a cheap one. Could be a big chunk of lead, a spindle wall type thing. Right, where are you? $27, $28, $29. Now where are you? It was showing somewhere near here, wasn't it? Oh, copper. Is that a button? It certainly is. With a bit of silver on, so that's why it's so loud. Nice button with a dragon on. You know, you hope for a nice big silver coin, but that's quite nice, that. So there's our livery button. Quite a nice one. And that was the impression in the mud. It's a very clear signal, so maybe trash, bit of thin lead, thin something. So we listen to the signal. It's at 15, but it's not really sharp. So maybe lead, maybe a button. Let's have a look. See if we can get it without too long a wait. Oh. Lead. Here's a folded up piece of lead. Yeah. It's a folded up piece of lead. So it's like a duller sound than silver. Oh. That's 17. Seems to be coming from a wider area, so probably not a coin. Might be, it's a bit sharp, could be a mu tube. Right, let's get it out and see. You can see it, that was a 17. Yeah. It's very light. That's a strange one. Didn't expect it to be light. Is it hollow? Let's give it a clean, and it must be hollow, so if it's hollow it won't be that old. There's a little pinhole there, so I don't think it's that old. A bit of copper coming through. Yeah, very light. It's not 13, but a bit of a jumpy signal. Could be a bit of a trash or a button. So it's in here, it's a little bit sharper, but I don't think it's going to be a silver. Oop, button. So it was a button. Yep. Just that little bit duller sound. Right, I won't do all the signals, just anything that could be interesting. This was a Wispy 13 signal. Is that some kind of winder? Don't know. This was a 10 signal. I was wondering what it was. I'm just wondering if this is part of a spoon, and the stem would go that way and the bowl this way.